Hello and welcome to Stand Up for Jehovah. Well, I couldn't leave the statistics alone, could I? After the last video, I had to look back at the 2017 yearbook and have another good old dig in those numbers. Now, do you remember when you were a Jehovah's Witness and you used to look eagerly through the yearbook to see where the biggest percentage increases were? Because it was really exciting. And frankly, there was nothing to listen to in the meetings, and to get the yearbook and have a trawl through the numbers was about the most exciting thing you could do other than count the ceiling tiles again. So I did the same thing that I used to do, which was look for the biggest percentage increases and the biggest percentage decreases. And there were some nice figures there. So at the top of the list, the very biggest increase in the world for Jehovah's Witnesses was in Nauru, by percent, not by people. So Nauru, that lovely Australian penal colony that was ravaged of all its resources in the 60s, so that it was just left as an empty shell of an island with people wandering around in shell shock and a decimated government. They had a 36% increase, which represented 4 Jehovah's Witnesses. The second biggest increase was in the Congo, which was 22%. And I'm going to come back to the Congo and discuss what's going on there, because I discovered something so interesting. So interesting, you'll be quite excited. So I got a bit bored of looking at those, because the big increases represented 1 Jehovah's Witness. You know, Norfolk Island, 1 witness was 20%. Tinian, imaginary made-up countries, 1 Jehovah's Witness. 2 Jehovah's Witnesses was 13%. Where are these? Do they even exist? Is the Watchtower Society just inventing random countries? So I looked at the biggest decreases, same deal. The biggest percentage decrease of Jehovah's Witnesses in the world, very sad, was Sabu. Mr. Loberman, Sabu, Mr. Loberman. It's not a country, that's a song lyric. Sabu had a 25% decrease in Jehovah's Witnesses, but that was just 3 witnesses. They went from 12 to 9. I expect the 9 were going, no, please don't leave us. You represent a 25% decrease. And the 3 were like, talk to the hand, because the face ain't listening. We're going somewhere civilized with a real country's name, not this imaginary land that nobody's heard of. So there were other big decreases. Tuvalu was a 19% decrease. That was 12 witnesses. Wallis and Futuna Island was a 16% decrease. 7 witnesses. So then I got bored of the little figures. I thought, these numbers are nonsensical. They're not statistically significant. I'm not interested in them. I want to know, where are the big boys? Where are the big boys? Put that sheet to one side. So then, because I clearly have nothing better to do with my half term, like plan lessons or write schemes of work or anything, nothing better to do, I listed every country that had more than 100,000 Jehovah's Witnesses. And I put them in order on a spreadsheet with colours. I'll tell you what the colours mean. So if anyone says to you on the doors it's an American religion, and you go, no, it's not an American religion. Jesus was born in the Middle East. He had slightly brown skin like my daughter, look a bit Italian. No, Jesus was born in the Middle East. It's not an American, it's an American religion. America, I'm ashamed of you. You have the most Jehovah's Witnesses in any country in the world. You have over 1 million witnesses. It's nothing to be proud of. You've also got Scientology and the morons, so stop bragging. You've got over 100,000. No, you've got over 1 million Jehovah's Witnesses. Okay, I can slightly forgive you because you only had a 1% increase, which is less than the birth rate. So if Jehovah's Witnesses in America are having babies at the normal rate, they would have grown by more than you grew last year. Okay, so the other countries on this list are, I'm not going to read them all out, I'll just pick a few out. So there's a lot of, there's a few from Europe, not too proud about that. We've got Germany, Britain, France, Spain and Italy on the list. We're in with the big boys, sorry. But then we've also got on the list, I think, what I like to think as latecomers to the game, up-and-coming countries that are going to take us over. So we've got Nigeria, the Congo, Zambia, Ukraine, Ghana, Angola. And at this point, I did wonder, it sounds a little bit unfair, I don't want to categorise countries, but I did wonder if there were big increases in countries that had low educational rates. So, here's what I did. I listed the literacy rate of each country next to the country. Right, so first of all, I'm going to tell you what my colour coding means. Okay, if a country's in green here, remember these are the 23 countries that have more than 100,000 Jehovah's Witnesses. If they're in green, they had a 0 increase or a decrease in Jehovah's Witnesses last year. If they're in red, they had more than a 1% increase, so they were going up more than the general population. If they're in amber, they had a 1% increase, which means that they didn't quite match the general population increase. Okay, so really and truly speaking, I've got it written down somewhere, you've got about 8 countries that made genuine increases, about 9 that didn't quite make the increase of the general population, and about 8 that had a decrease. Okay, so then what I did, because I'm obsessed, then, as I say, I ranked them all in literacy rates, and I put them in order of the countries with the lowest literacy rate at the top. So these are my 23 countries, okay, with more than 100,000 Jehovah's Witnesses. What can you see? What do you notice about this graph? Come on, children. Come on. You at the back. Wake up. Stop chewing gum. Turn round. It's your own time you're wasting. What do you notice about the graph? The countries with the lowest literacy rate are up at the top, also have the biggest increases. The countries with the highest literacy rate down at the bottom have decreases. Now, you want to know who that is, don't you? Who is that? Who's letting us down? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to name and shame. Canada, I am disgusted with you. You have a 99% literacy rate. You have no excuse whatsoever for your 2% increase. Canada, sort it. Get it sorted. We're not impressed. You're spoiling the graph. You are the only country with a decent literacy that is also increasing among Jehovah's Witnesses. Stop it right now. Get it. I know you've got that gorgeous Trudeau fella, but it's not enough. There's another country in there, a bit disappointing, but we can let you off. France. France, you've got a 99% literacy rate. You had a 1% increase in Jehovah's Witnesses. We can kind of forgive you, even though you spit in our food when we go to Paris, because we don't speak French. We can kind of forgive you because you had a 1% increase, which is lower than the general population. However, France, still disappointing. All your children do appear to be getting baptised at the right age. So, sort it. Sort it is what I'm saying. So now, not content with my little colour graph, I then went on to do a Spearman's rank correlation coefficient between the 2 sets of data. Yes, I ran a test. So what I did was, a Spearman's rank coefficient, what it does is it tells you if there's a relationship between 2 sets of data, two sets of information. Okay, so I took the ranking for the percentage increase in Jehovah's Witnesses and I ranked it, and I also took the same ranking for literacy rates and I ranked that, and then I did a Spearman's rank correlation coefficient to see if there was a relationship between the level of illiteracy and the level of increase of Jehovah's Witnesses in a country. Are you excited about this? Because I know I am. So I'm going to tell you what a Spearman's rank does. It gives you a number between +1 and -1. If the number is closer to +1, means there is a 100% relationship, correlation between the 2 sets of data. 0 means there's no relationship at all, it's just random. -1 means there's an inverse relationship. So like when one thing goes up, the other thing goes down. So if you get a number that are bigger than, say, 0.6, tending towards +1, you're looking at a relationship. What was the Spearman's rank correlation coefficient between literacy rates of countries and increase in Jehovah's Witnesses in those countries? The Spearman's rank correlation was 0.9. There is almost a perfect correlation between how illiterate a country is and whether Jehovah's Witnesses will increase there or not. Go figure. So that scripture that said God chose the cretinacious, illiterate, unreadable deplorables of the world to represent him, I've just proved it statistically. God did. God loves an illiterate. God doesn't like an education that's bad. Education is bad. And I can see why now. Because if you've got no education, if you can't read, you're more likely to get through to the new system. Don't ask me why. Maybe you don't need to read to be able to pet pandas and lions and tigers. Now, anyway, the more educated you get, the less interested God is in you. So, not content with this, not content with my 0.9 correlation, I then thought, well, I can use this to help the governing body. So what I did was I went online and I got a list of the 25 most illiterate countries. The 25 most illiterate countries in the world. Now, I am not laughing at the people in these countries, okay? Because on that list, there are countries that have people I know. I've got Ethiopia is 8th on the list, the 8th most illiterate country in the world, with only 39% of its population that can read and write. I know a lovely girl from Ethiopia, educated, beautiful, literate, looks like Lisa Bonet. You can't get any better than that. So I'm not laughing. It's not the people's fault that they live in a country where the government doesn't see fit to invest in its educational infrastructure. That's just as it is. Having said that, let's have a look at the countries. Okay. So number 1, the most illiterate country in the world is South Sudan, with only 27% of people that can read and write. Jehovah's Witnesses, 5% increase there. 5% increase. You stand more of a chance if you can't read and write. Bangladesh and Timor-Leste are on the 22nd and 23rd most illiterate countries in the world. Jehovah's Witnesses, 12% increase there. 12%! What a dilemma this must be for the governing body. Damn these people! We can convert them, but they've got no money because they can't read and write. They can't get decent jobs because they can't read and write, but they're all converting like crazy. Oh, it must be agony for them. Oh, what do we want? We want people, but we want money. We're getting people, but we want money. Oh, it must be awful. So anyway, enough of that. I have promised a list of 25 most illiterate countries. I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to write to the governing body, I think, and give them a suggestion. Because on here are 3 countries that are not listed in the yearbook. So my suggestion would be that the governing body needs to, as a matter of urgency, start spreading the preaching work in these 3 countries that are not currently listed. So, number 2 most illiterate country in the world that Jehovah's Witnesses don't list in the yearbook, Afghanistan. Only 28% of people can read there. Get in there, get the carts there, start showing them pretty pictures of pandas and tigers. They lap it up they will. 7th most illiterate country in the world, Somalia. Only 38% of them can read. Get in there. You're not in there on the yearbook. Get into Somalia. Get some pioneers over there. It'll cost you pennies for them to live in Somalia. They don't even have a government. You just walk in, do what you want. Pirate a few ships, anything. Get in there. 15th most illiterate country in the world, Bhutan. 53% of people can read and write, a little bit high for witnesses, but it's not listed in the yearbook. So my suggestion to the governing body would be, next year you need to expand into Afghanistan, Somalia and Bhutan. You're welcome. Thank you for listening to Stand Up for Jehovah. Hello. Okay, I've got an apology to make. Canada, please forgive me. I am really sorry. I transposed your number wrong from the data from the 2017 yearbook, and you are in fact green. You didn't make an increase at all. I'm so sorry. I've maligned you. I've cursed you out. I've told you that you're not working hard enough, and it's just not true. You made a 0% increase. So when you look at the graph of literacy rates against JW conversions, actually there aren't even any anomalies at all. The countries with the highest literacy rate have the lowest conversions. The countries with the lowest literacy rate have the highest conversions. It doesn't change the calculation I did with Spearman's rank, because I actually had Canada ranked in the right place. I just had the total witnesses wrong and the increase wrong. So I've forgotten your name, but thank you very much for pointing it out on my video. I will now try and add this to the end of the video. And please, Canada, please accept my apology. You are in fact green and we all love you.